All right, last game I want to talk about. Going back to the SEC, it's Alabama against Auburn. This is a game that, if you're an Auburn fan, you can have all of a sudden a great year. And if you're an Alabama fan, you can turn a good year into a terrible year based on this game. We've seen some of the craziest things over the past 5, 10 years happen in this game between the hedges. The spread right now, Vegas only has it at 5.5 in favor of Alabama, and then the over/under is 46.5. So let's talk about this. The Tide against the Tigers. This Alabama, the one of the greatest rivalries in sports. Let's talk about it.
Yeah, so this is the most surprising in-season AI pick of the weekend, and I've really been trying to dig into the stats and the metrics to try to see, what is our machine learning model seeing in this game that everyone in the country and even Vegas is not, because we have Auburn at a 60% chance of winning this game. Now, that is kind of in the toss-up region. That's, anything 60% or below, we consider that really a toss-up. And our conviction rating also kind of speaks to that as well, as saying this is also a toss-up game. Toss-up doesn't mean poor. It just means we have a historical accuracy 70% or below, so highly unpredictable. This is a very, very strange matchup for me because you would assume that kind of Alabama would be, maybe 12 to 14-point favorites. Vegas is also seeing something that's saying, hey, Auburn might keep this close. Maybe it's history. Maybe it's, the legacy behind this game. But that's what we're seeing from the metrics perspective. And if you look more in depth at kind of what we're seeing from the defenses and offensive rankings, Alabama ranks 19 in SP plus offense, 6th in SP plus defense, very solid defensive team. Auburn's kind of had a lackluster offensive year led by Jackson Arnold at 54 and a pretty solid defensive ranking at 16. But for some reason, our in-season AI is predicting Auburn has a 60% chance of winning this game, which I'm extremely intrigued by. If I were just a normal guy looking at this game, I'd say Alabama 85% chance of winning this game. But there are some metrics that just do not stack up well for Auburn and Alabama's offense and defense together. So I'm happy to break into that a little bit more, but just wanted to note that as well.
Yeah. Let's talk because to me, when I'm looking at this game, obviously it's a rivalry game, so it's going to be hard to predict. All of them seem like toss-ups to me when we enter week 14 and it's
Yeah.
a rival against a rival. But to me, this game is going to hinge on whether Auburn's offense can actually put up the points, because Auburn's defense really has been pretty good all year.
Yeah.
They've been able to keep them in a lot of games that the offense has either put them in bad spots, or not been able to move the ball. And the defense has been on the field for a long time, and they're still playing really well. So I think, to me, it's going to hinge not on whether Alabama can score in Auburn's defense or Auburn can stop Alabama's offense and Ty Simpson and all of that. It's really going to be, well, can Auburn even put up enough points to win this game?
Sure.
So that's kind of what I want to talk about.
Yeah, and absolutely. And so what I wanted to do here just very briefly is talk about why I think our model is skewing this in this direction. And I think there's two notable things. Alabama has basically, lived and died by the pass. Led by Ty Simpson, they have a great passing game, great receivers. They're able to get him enough time in the pocket such that, he can make that second and third look. So I have no issue with Alabama being able to pass the ball. On the converse, their running game has struggled. They have a pretty poor rush defense, bottom 40 percentile, run blocking, bottom 40 percentile. And the run game just hasn't been, that typical Alabama running game with that bruiser type running back where they're able to get, 5 and 6 chunk yard plays at a time. So that's the first notable thing I'm looking at with Alabama. On the defensive end, the other notable is their pass rush defense is pretty abysmal. Which allows Jackson Arnold to get extra time in the pocket. If you look at all the Auburn games this year, when he's performed best is when he's been able to sit in the pocket a little bit longer, allow the receiving core to kind of figure it out a little bit more downfield or break open, or allow him to kind of scramble out of the pocket and get yards on the ground. He's pretty quick on the ground as well. So that's kind of one of the first notable things I'm looking at. And then if I go over to Auburn's side and look at their headline grades, obviously their coverage defense was the question mark coming into this season. It is one of their poorest areas, which will allow Alabama to score the ball at ease. and their receivers have also been kind of more lackluster on that as well. So if I'm looking at anything in terms of what is the model looking at that can kind of say, hey, this is a closer game than it should be, or we're even picking Auburn to win this game, it's the inability of Alabama to get to Jackson Arnold and, actually apply pressure, which will, add a little bit of statistical boost to Jackson Arnold's game, but also just kind of not having the ability to run the ball well. Whereas Auburn's defense is, that is kind of their forte this year in terms of what they've been able to stop.
Yeah, and one thing I do want to note, I know Auburn fans were probably screaming at us right now for talking about Jackson Arnold, because Deuce Knight did start the game against Mercer last week.
Yeah, that's true.
But kind of that being said, that throws in even more question marks in terms of, is Deuce Knight going to start? And if he does, as a freshman, what can we expect from him against a good defense, in this type of environment and against your biggest rival? So, whether or not it's Deuce Knight, Jackson Arnold, anyone else, calling the plays for Auburn, that's kind of what they need to show. And that's probably exactly why the machine learning model is giving us kind of what it's saying.
Yeah, I agree with that. But yeah, sorry on the Jackson Arnold Deuce Knight thing. Yeah, but look, I think Jackson Arnold actually matches up a little bit better against Alabama than Deuce Knight does, just statistically, given his ability to kind of scramble in the pocket well. But yeah, that's kind of the main point there is regardless of which quarterback, we know what Auburn or Alabama's defensive weaknesses are. And I think exposing that is the only chance for Auburn to win this game. And if their defense can just hold it together, I mean, I know I pulled this up. They have very poor coverage defense, and that's really where Alabama's had a lot of strength this year in terms of getting the ball down the field in those chunk plays. That's kind of the big question mark here, but I'm super interested to see the outcome of this game. And, obviously with the Iron Bowl context, historically, it's always been a much closer game than people remember.
Yeah, and it'll be interesting to see, one, because it's the Iron Bowl and we're excited to watch all of these games, but what Alabama does offensively, if they stick by kind of what we've talked about in the past, what's got them here, what they do so well, or if they try to, run it down Auburn's throat and, kind of do what Ohio State did to Michigan last year, try to beat them at their own game. So you're exactly right. The weaknesses on Alabama's defense are the same no matter who is quarterbacking Auburn. So really Auburn's key to success is exploit those weaknesses. So anyway, happy Thanksgiving to everyone, Auburn, Alabama fans, college football fans. Comment, like, subscribe. Let us know what you want to see more of in the future. Any questions you have about the advanced analytics, about INSZN AI and the machine learning model and all of that. And whether just wish us a happy Thanksgiving if you're in the comments. Again, I'm Braxton Wilkes. I joined as always with Christian Berry, co-founders of INSZN. And
look for the promo code in the bottom too. We'll give you 25% off.
That was the last thing. The last thing I was going to say is, we'll give you a promo code to have access to all of this, all of these advanced analytics, the machine learning model, and INSZN AI, and all of that. So you can check all of that out by going to inszn.co, and be looking out for the promo code in the comments or in the description of the video.
Awesome.
And
thank you.
Thank you all, and happy Thanksgiving to everyone, and enjoy Feast Week.